The reflection. Lena had never liked mirrors. Something about them always made her uneasy, as if they held more than just her reflection. But when she moved into her new apartment, she found an old, ornate mirror nailed into the bedroom wall. It was too heavy to remove, so she left it. One night, while getting ready for bed, she caught something strange out of the corner of her eye. Her reflection wasn't quite right. It moved a little too slowly, lagging behind her just enough to notice. She blinked and shook her head. Just tired, she told herself. But the next night, it happened again. This time, when she raised her hand to touch her face, the reflection hesitated, just for a fraction of a second before copying her movement. Her stomach twisted. She stepped closer, staring into her own eyes, and whispered, "Is someone there?" Her reflection smiled. Lena stumbled backward, her breath catching in her throat. She hadn't smiled. Her hands trembled as she turned away, telling herself it was a trick of the light. But as she crawled into bed, she felt an overwhelming sense of being watched. She woke in the middle of the night to a sound, a soft tapping, like fingers drumming against glass. Her bedroom was dark except for the sliver of moonlight catching the edge of the mirror. The tapping continued. Swallowing hard, she turned her head toward the mirror. The reflection stood there, wide-eyed, its lips parted as if whispering something. But Lena hadn't moved. Then, with a slow, deliberate motion, the reflection raised a hand and placed it flat against the glass. A cold dread spread through Lena's chest. The reflection's lips moved again. This time, she could hear it. "Let me out." Lena scrambled out of bed, grabbing the nearest object, a lamp, and hurled it at the mirror. The glass shattered with an ear-piercing crack. Silence. Panting, she stared at the broken shards scattered across the floor. Nothing moved. Just jagged reflections of her terrified face. Then, one by one, the shards began to shift. A hand, pale and wrong, reached up from a shard near her feet. Another from a larger piece near the wall. More and more hands, crawling out, pulling themselves free. The last thing Lena saw was her own face, smiling up at her from the largest shard, as the hands dragged her screaming into the darkness. By morning, the mirror was whole again, and the reflection inside waited, smiling.